So thank you for agreeing to talking to me. Um, as you know, I contacted you because we are a lot of us are really unsettled what is happening with PubMed and clinicaltrials.gov at the moment. These are the main information sources for us, information specialists conducting systematic reviews. So it's really unsettling. And I contacted you because, of course, we know each other. You worked at IGWIC as the head of the health information department. And then we lost you to the US, to PubMed, or the National Health Institute. At the moment, you are well known for the blog, absolutely maybe. But yes, I was hoping we could get some inside information of what is going on, what we have to prepare for. So, Hilda, regarding PubMed and clinicaltrials.gov, what kind of scenario do you think we have to prepare for?
Well, I haven't worked there for a few years, and so I don't really know what's going on in there at the moment. The things that worry me the most, though, is that if the same kind of process happens in the National Library of Medicine as is happening in other government departments, then we could see a lot of key personnel leaving or cutbacks in staff, those sorts of things. So that seems to be happening everywhere in the US government. So if it happens at PubMed and clinicaltrials.gov, then I think that we'll start to see unreliable services that services will just go down for a while, maybe for a few hours, maybe it'll take more days, because if you don't have sufficient resources and people who really know how all the software works and what might go wrong, it could take more time to recover. So that's the thing that I think is the highest risk. After that, though, there's that worry that they may change the indexing process and either index a lot of journals that ordinarily would never have been regarded as meeting NLM standards and getting sort of pseudoscience and anti-vax journals in there, or taking journals out for whatever reason. So that would be the next really big concern. But I haven't seen any reason yet to really be sure that that's going to happen. But I think that there's a risk. And then the last thing I think is perhaps that there could be that there may end up being restrictions on access. For example, maybe it's not going to be free anymore. Maybe the APIs won't be free. I mean, those are the kinds of things that happened at Twitter. And so, it makes you wonder, might they recommend that the US government does that too? I mean, it's very bizarre things are happening. So, that may be a possibility too.
But what do you think could be the worst case?
The worst case would be that the value of PubMed in particular, I guess clinicaltrials.gov. I mean, the absolute worst case scenario would be that they cancelled them, but I don't think that's. It's hard to see why they would do that, but a lot of things are happening that don't make much sense. I think the more likely worst case scenario is that the system just breaks down and just is not reliable enough, whether it's that the content's not reliable enough or that it's technically just too often down, having too many problems, those sorts of things. And just that process of just gradually becoming more and more unusable, that would be the worst case scenario.
So for us Europeans, what would you advise? What could we prepare for? What should we do, in your opinion?
Well, I think everybody everywhere needs to get to understand how Europe PMC works and how to just swap over to Europe PMC at any time that PubMed is down, and to encourage other people to do the same, because as long as PubMed is actually producing the material and it's that PubMed is actually running, even if the websites or the APIs are unreliable, Europe PMC should be fine. So similarly, while ever the WHO clinical trials platform is working, that would be the backup for any time that clinicaltrials.gov was down. But in terms of preparing, what I would really hope to see would be that the organisations behind Europe PMC and other similar services actually start to develop some kind of contingency plans to say, well, what would we do if we could no longer rely on the input from PubMed? What would it take to reproduce it in some way or replace it in some feasible way using the document identifiers and so on? Because it would be possible for somebody else to build up a service that could replace it to some extent, but you couldn't do that overnight. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.